A Baker from Goa by Lucio Rodriguez. The story is a pen portrait of a traditional Goan village baker who still has an important place in society. The purpose of a pen portrait is basically to present a clear picture of the person as they were. So this story is a real life incident and it is a pen portrait of a traditional Goan village baker who still has an important place in the society. Okay, so you may know that apart from the British, the Dutch and the French, the Portuguese have also played a part in the history of our country, India, right? The author here mentions that his elders fondly remember the old Portuguese days. The Portuguese in Goa were famous for their breads. Yes, they were very famous for their breads. While the Portuguese are long gone, the bakers of those breads are still there. So are the mixers, molders and furnaces. In some places, the baker still announces his arrival with the third and jingle of his traditional bamboo in the morning. Sons of these old bakers still carry on the family business and are called peders even today. The author recalls about his childhood in Goa, right? He recalls his Goan days when the baker was their friend, companion and guide. He would visit at least twice daily. Once in the morning on his selling round and then again when he returned after selling all his bread. The children loved the jingling thud of the baker's bamboo and ran to meet him. It wasn't love for the loaves because of which the children ran to the baker. Can you guess what it was? Yes, it was the bread bangles, the tasty, yummy, delicious bread bangles. And the children used to choose all of them carefully. Sometimes it was sweet bread of a special make. The baker made a musical entry every morning with the jingling sound of his specially made bamboo staff. He greeted the lady of the house and then placed his bread basket on the vertical bamboo. The children who flocked around him were disapprovingly pushed aside, and the servant bought the bread. However, some of the more adamant children found a way to peep into the baker's basket by climbing a bench or the parapet. There were loaves for the elders and bread bangles for the children. They did not even care to brush their teeth or wash their mouths properly before eating because all they wanted is to eat the yummy and delicious bread bangles. According to the author, marriage gifts are meaningless without a sweet bread known as bowl. He goes on to enumerate and describe the importance of a baker and his furnace in a Goan village. A party or a feast is incomplete without bread. The lady of the house must prepare sandwiches on the occasion of her daughter's engagement. Cakes and bulhinas are a must for Christmas and other festivals. So, the bread sellers of earlier days wore a single piece long frock reaching down to the knees known as kabai. Later, they started wearing a shirt and pants that reached just below the knees. We can say 3/4 pants, okay? This attire became so characteristic of bakers that anyone dressed in similar pants was said to be dressed like a pader. The baker usually settled his bills at the end of the month, the account of which was recorded on some wall in pencil. In the old days, baking was basically a very profitable profession, and the baker and his family were always well-fed, happy and prosperous. So even today, anyone with a plump physique is compared to a baker. So basically students, Goan bakers called peders hold an important position in society since Portuguese days. The baker announces his arrival in the morning with the jingling of a specially made bamboo staff. He visits twice a day, once in the morning when his supply is full and the other when he returns after selling all his bread. He greets the lady of the house and sells bread to the servant. The children flock around him to get bread bangles. Special occasions and festivals in Goa are incomplete without bread. These bread sellers earlier dressed in a single-piece long frock known as kabai, and they later started wearing a shirt and pants that reached just below the knees. The Goan bakers were prosperous and happy. Okay, so this was the pen portrait of a baker in Goa. Now, let's discuss the title of the story. So, what is the title? A Baker from Goa. It is an appropriate title for this account as the story deals with the history of bakers in Goa. Peders have been an important part of the Goan society since the days of the Portuguese, and all important celebrations, functions, and festivals are incomplete without bread. Now let's discuss the theme of the story. So the theme of the story is that bakers in Goa are the legacy of the Portuguese and have a lot of importance in a traditional Goan village. The pen portrait describes some of the breads baked in Goa, thus pressing upon the importance of bakers and their furnaces in all Goan occasions, functions and festivals. So, this is the theme of the story. Now, let's discuss the message of the story as well. So, the author, through this account, wants to highlight the fact that every region and every state has cultures and traditions different from others, right? In this way, the peder, in his peculiar dress, in his strange, unusual dress, occupies an important place in traditional Goan villages. Talking of the bakers, whose business has been carried on through generations, the author also suggests that one should protect, preserve, and restore our old traditions as they add to the rich diversity of our country. Yes, definitely, we all should work towards protecting, preserving, and restoring our old traditions for our future generations and to add to the rich diversity of our country, India. Right? So, did you like the message? And we should learn from all the messages that we get from our beautiful stories. Isn't it? So, students, this was all about today's module in which we discussed the theme, message, title and the summary of the story. I hope all the things are now clear to you. Very good. Keep studying hard, stay safe and keep practicing.